So Patrick Mahomes threw a 62-yard bomb to Xavier Worthy for a touchdown today while rolling out to his left, and I will explain why Worthy's part in it all is what I'm so excited about for this upcoming season. And with the first day of training camp officially over, I've also got to take a look at a key defensive back dealing with an injury, as well as look at other key highlights and takeaways. But first, how about those? All right, day one of training camp came and went, kicking off the first full practice with rookies and vets. And boy, is there a lot to talk about and even more to be excited about. To start things off, I want to note that practice is not full pads until, I think, Friday. So you're going to be a little bit limited in what we see and how we see things. O-line, for example, nobody has pads on, so we've got to wait and kind of see how that stuff plays out. But Andy Reid did say the vets set the standard, warning everyone to be in shape for camp, and everyone, for the most part, ran well in their conditioning test yesterday. Another reminder is that every player is now required to wear those nice-looking Guardian caps unless they are wearing an NFL-approved position-specific practice helmet, so you're going to see a lot of those out there at camp this year. Now, the first player out there for camp practice was defensive back Joshua Williams, the third-year vet out of Fayetteville State, who is definitely hungry to go out and compete for that cornerback 2 spot with L'Jarius Sneed now gone, and Jalen Watson, who is still recovering from that shoulder surgery. And speaking of players with injuries, we had some updates today now that the vets are here. For starters, safety Justyn Reid was one of the noticeably unexpected veterans to be out there at practice without a helmet on. I'll get to him in a second. The others out there not practicing, no real surprise. Cornerback Jalen Watson, defensive end Charles Omenihu, defensive tackle Derrick Nnadi, and defensive end B.J. Thompson being the others. According to Matt Derrick, the Chiefs placed Justyn Reid on the non-football injury list as he deals with a quad issue. Head coach Andy Reid spoke to the media today and said Justyn is honest with them about how he's feeling. They trust him with that, and as of right now, he's basically day-to-day, which is a classic Andy Reid response. Quad issues are no fun, so hopefully it's rather minor and he'll be back out there in no time. Justyn actually took to his Twitter later today after practice and said, quote, "Minor setbacks breed major comebacks. I will get myself healthy soon. Can't wait to get back out on the field." So, per the words of Justyn Reid himself, this is but a minor setback. Then running back Clyde Edwards-Helaire was seemingly dealing with an illness on Saturday, but came off it today and was seen practicing. Another player injured is tight end Garrett Prince, who could be seen in a walking boot during Friday's practice, which was a bummer to see. I don't know the extent of his injury, but it was enough that the Chiefs waived him from the roster and brought back a familiar face in tight end Isaiah Gathings to be the guy working in Prince's stead. And before I get to some interesting camp snippets and awesome plays from today's practice, I did want to quickly mention that Chiefs president Mark Donovan spoke to the media on Friday, and he was asked a bunch of questions about the future of the Chiefs and where they will be playing. Kansas side of Kansas City, Missouri side, where they're at currently at Arrowhead. Well, he repeatedly said they are exploring all options, but are going to move forward separately from the Royals this time. Donovan reiterated that the plan is to continue playing home games at Arrowhead through the expiration of the lease, which is through 2031. And if it comes to another vote, he wants to have all the details laid out and ready for the public. However, they need to get the ball rolling on what's next because it's going to take quite a while to get everything going. A lot of money involved. Construction, it takes years. So whether that's upgrades to Arrowhead or a new stadium somewhere else, he wants to basically have the plan laid out within 6 months. Wants to have a good idea of what the future holds. So that's pretty soon. By the end of the year, we may be very close to knowing the future of the Chiefs and Arrowhead Stadium. But enough of the future. Let's focus on the here and now. Today's camp practice. Something interesting I noticed was that wide receiver Kadarius Toney actually started the day working with the running backs, catching an option pitch here from Mahomes as a running back before going to work with the wideouts. He did some of that last year as well, even taking direct snaps from Wildcat. So if he does indeed end up making the roster, it's a legitimate way Toney could be used again. Andy Reid said Toney did a good job today working in there. He's in there competing and, quote, "We'll see how he does. Have no idea what to make of Kadarius Toney right now, but it's still early and he's got plenty of time to show up and show out at training camp." Another guy I'm curious to see how he does this year is the 4th round draft pick rookie tight end Jared Wiley. He could be seen getting first team reps early on with Travis Kelce in 2 tight end formations, which is going to be a lot of fun. And speaking of Kelce, I did want to confirm he did bring the Stache back. The return of El Travador is official. Something else that came back quickly, yet never really left, is the Mahomes to Kelce connection. You can see that here as Patrick fit a great tight window throw to Kelce in typical fashion, with Nick Bolton looking a bit confused out there on that rep as he spun around like, what happened? And I just want to say, thanks to this footage by Jared Kohler of KCTV5, you can see plenty of routes or reps that Kelce took here during practice. And even though he just recently returned from Germany, he doesn't appear jet lagged and he looks locked all the way in. His routes are still looking crispy, and even though he turns 34 in October, he's still the best in the game, and that's something we can't take for granted and have to cherish for every season he's got left. Then, the second-year offensive tackle Wanya Morris was the first guy to get first-team reps at left tackle, with rookie Kingsley Suamataia rotating in a bit later with the first-team offense. Remember, this doesn't mean a ton yet, as they are not yet in full pads, but it looks like Wanya, at least for right now, is getting the initial nod at left tackle. Then left guard Joe Thuney could be seen on the sideline as he works back from that pec injury, but during practice it was Mike Caliendo filling in for him with the ones. Then on special teams, McCole Hardman, Nico Remigio, and Kadarius Toney were taking punt return reps, as well as the rookie Xavier Worthy. Worthy was also very busy today on offense, making a couple of nice catches that I'll get to here in a moment, but before I do, some defensive tidbits were that Trent McDuffie and Joshua Williams got the initial first-team work in the secondary, working outside with Chamari Connor inside. Rookie safety Jaden Hicks was also getting first-team reps today as well, probably helped by the fact that Justin Reid is sidelined with that quad injury, but it's still great to see. Defensive end Chris Jones spoke to the media today, saying this is his first time back at camp in quite a while. He held out all of training camp last year during contract negotiations, but he's back and leading the charge of the defensive line this year. He's aiming for Defensive Player of the Year, not for any selfish reasons, but because he wants to be the best teammate he can be, making plays and helping them win games. He did say, though, he's going to try to talk with Andy Reid and Veach if needs be, maybe even Clark Hunt, about getting a couple days off from camp practice, because he's 30 and he's not getting any younger. He was obviously joking, but it was pretty funny to hear. Then, the first completion of the day during 7-on-7s at camp was Mahomes via a nice pass to Hollywood Brown, one of many more to come. Hollywood also had this nice leaping grab down the left sideline as Joshua Williams appeared to fall down in coverage. Rookie Xavier Worthy had himself quite the day, going up to get a ball of his own on the right sideline here, with Joshua Williams once again being the guy in coverage. A solid throw from Mahomes and a great adjustment to the ball and snag by the rookie. And regarding Xavier Worthy's solid day at practice, Andy Reid said they are only one install into camp, but
yeah, he's been working hard. Looks like his hamstring feels better. We just got to keep him going here and keep learning. He's got a lot more information coming at him, and formations and shifts and motions and all that stuff. So
McCole Hardman also weighed in on the rookie wideout, saying he's coming along well, adjusting well, and because of his speed, he's sure deep balls, like the play we're going to talk about in a second, are going to happen all throughout the season. And yeah, the play of the day was probably this one here, a clip that went viral or crazy on social media everywhere, thanks to the nice clip captured by KC Sports Network. And they're going to have awesome clips like this all training camp long, so make sure to follow them on Twitter/X and sub to them on YouTube for much more, all training camp long. Links are in the description. But can we just talk about the throw for a second? Let's break this down. Mahomes launched an absolute rocket that floated perfectly down the field for a touchdown, a ball that nobody but Mahomes and maybe a couple others can make. I mean, the guy is sprinting to his left, and it's pretty insane how fast he can flip his hips and just chuck that ball, uncorking a bomb to Worthy, with Brian Cook actually in pretty tight coverage. Cook just didn't see the ball, but Worthy sure did and tracked that thing down to near perfection, something the offense missed badly last year. Receivers who had the ability to track down the deep ball. Mahomes last season only completed 28% of his passes on 20-plus yards, which is right there with Sam Howell. Not great, but it's really not all on Mahomes. Having wideouts this year who can track the deep ball down, just like Worthy did in this clip, is something that is going to massively help this offense in 2024 and should honestly scare the rest of the NFL. And speaking of deep balls, this rep here was against air, but backup QB Carson Wentz could be seen throwing a bomb of his own to McCole Hardman here. McColl didn't have to slow down or anything. It was perfectly placed. And McColl certainly has the speed to snag some deep balls of his own this season, something he notably did in last year's Super Bowl. Andy Reid noted that McColl has a great attitude about everything. He's working his tail off and heading into his 6th year in the NFL. Because of that, he's been around. He knows the routes inside and out and is a great communicator to the other guys in the room. Speaking of McColl, he spoke with the media today and said he had a few options as far as teams who were interested, but coming back to KC made the most sense to him. He's more comfortable here, very familiar with the coaches and the scheme, and he also noted that Andy Reid knows how to use him in some niche ways on offense, and he's here to establish his role and continue to get better entering year 6. There's a lot of speed in this wide receiver room, and McColl gave some detailed thoughts on how the room looks heading into camp as they all aim to establish their roles.
They've got a good group of guys. Like you said, Hollywood's X came. They bring another dynamic to the offense. And then obviously you got Rasheed, man, that's like a bulldog, like a horse that can do all the dirty work, get it underneath routes. Then, I come in, do the rolls, the little gadget stuff here and there, and, explosiveness too. So I think we got a great nick of guys. Jay Watt is still here. Skyy Moore, route runner. So I think everybody is collective together. We all feed off each other.
Another few practice highlights worth mentioning include this nice interception from defensive back Echo Boydo on a pass intended for Justyn Ross. And while Ross wasn't able to haul that one in, Pete Sweeney reported that earlier on in practice, he brought in a ball during sevens where he had to fully extend to snag it and did a nice job toe tapping on the sideline for the completed catch. Sadly, I don't have footage for it, but this would have been awesome to see. Then later, I found this clip of Hollywood Brown from the Chiefs' Instagram stories hauling it in with a one-handed grab after slipping earlier on his route. Then the best kicker in the NFL went 8 of 9 on the day in his field goal drill, making his first 7 kicks from 31 to 52 yards until he missed a 54-yarder. He then tried again, and it went right in. Another player we are intriguingly watching, at least I am, a player I hope gets better, or if he doesn't, may find himself traded or even released, is wide receiver Skyy Moore. He had a pretty decent rep here to get open against Chamari Connor on the right side left of Mahomes, and he gets open on this route, but the pass is either just out of reach. Some say, hey, it hit him right in the hands. He should have caught it, but it looks like it was, again, just out of reach right off of his fingertips. Timing is something he's going to have to work out with Mahomes, but he's entering year 3, so he's got to really show up and show out in camp. Everybody has good reps and bad reps. We happen to catch a bad rep here on camera, but I'll be curious to see how Skyy Moore does because he is one of those guys fighting for a spot on this roster. There's going to be intriguing battles to watch all training camp long, and I'll be here to keep you updated every step of the way. Tomorrow's camp practice, I believe, is exclusive to season ticket members. Then the Chiefs will bring defensive coordinator Steve Spagnuolo to the podium. So until next time, let's go. Let's freaking go. How about those?